give us your stats. So you're in Virginia. You're in what part of Virginia?
I'm in Newport News, Virginia.
Newport News, Virginia. Okay, so you're in Newport News, Virginia, and you let's see, so 2 years ago you did 35 transactions. Correct me if I get the numbers
Mhm.
wrong. 2 years ago you did 35 transactions. Took most of the year off last year. You had some personal stuff going on. Took some time off. Did I think 15 deals? Is that right? But then you joined Homexa in, was it December?
I think it was November, right before Thanksgiving.
And then what did you penned a bunch of deals in just in January alone.
I
Tell me
did.
what happened in January?
I don't, I'll be honest, I don't know exactly what happened, but I did realize that I do need community in order to thrive. And when we first started with Homexa, what really helped was the daily huddles. And then it was pretty known as you could see on the chats, like the Slacks, like how someone got a listing and then it's encouraging, they do emojis and stuff. So, I mean, it's more of the community that kind of catapulted me.
Hmm.
And then it kind of like motivated me to do better. So,
Well, okay, so first of all, I totally appreciate that because I think people underestimate the importance of, well, to your point, to the way you put it, community, right? It's really tough. You know, a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to be a solo agent. I'm going to keep it small, keep it all, blah 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 blah. And I think, well, yeah, you're going to keep it small, all right, because you're never going to hit any really good numbers. You'll be doing well enough to stay in the business, but not enough to be happy with it. And then all of a sudden, you get somebody like that, and they join a great team, great organization, and all of a sudden their income, their productivity and their income just go through the roof, and they're a lot less stressed out. And in particular, when they join a team or a community like Homexa, because they don't have all the stress of I have to deal with every single thing, including the stuff I don't like doing, right?
mhm.
And so they're freed up to, it gives them both the time and the mental bandwidth to be able to really focus on what actually pays money.
What's really nice, like in the beginning, was if I ran into like a systems problem, I just screenshotted to Austin. Austin put it into AI and then fixed it. And I was just like, oh, this is kind of nice. It's like having your own personal IT
Yeah.
problem solver fixer.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. No, you just need, and that's okay. So let's talk about that because I think you just touched on another thing that I think people misunderstand about teams in general. I think a lot of agents, and let's be real, there's good and bad teams out there. There's not all teams are great teams, but there's a lot of great teams out there. And I think that bad team leaders and misinformed team members think that the team members work for the team leader. And I think good team leaders and well-informed team
Mhm.
members understand that it's the exact opposite. That the team leader works for and is really just the assistant to all of the team members. That's really what it comes down to. There, it's kind of like your point. He's, in your case, Austin is your technology assistant. I mean, he really is.
Well, he's more than that. He's also my coach, but you know.
But I mean, but at the end of the day, I mean, his job is to problem solve so that to free you up to go make money. And I think
And
that's
the
where a lot of
issue
people
that I
are.
realized, like when I was on my own and when I was building my own team, is yes, I had coaching, but one thing I didn't have like the capacity to do is like think beyond, right?
Mhm.
It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I know I need to sell a certain amount of houses. I need to get this, I need to get that. And I know what the next step is. But because Austin with Homexa has already done that, it's kind of like, hey, this is the struggle I'm running
Mhm.
into. I don't know how to solve this. And then he's like, oh, it's a systems problem. This is how you solve it. And then it gets solved. And so it's like, it takes less brain power. And I mean, it takes less brain power.
Okay, you're hitting on something super important though, and I'll tell you, every super rich person in the world will tell you that one of the biggest challenges they have is decision fatigue and mental bandwidth, and super rich people and super successful people in general work very, very hard to limit the number of decisions they have to make each day. And when you talk about, as a solo agent, it was really hard to kind of think beyond. That's because you're in the weeds. That's because you have to remember every detail of every transaction and make sure everything's going exactly correct. Whereas when you have the right organization around you, you don't have to do that. Now you can just be like, okay, no, like somebody else says that. I don't even need to think about that. I need to think about how I'm going to close this next deal. How I'm going to get this next client to sign on the dotted line with me, rather than how am I going to make sure that everybody in the transaction, the 48 people that touch a transaction are all doing their jobs correctly, right? So that makes a ton of sense. But again, I think I would love to hear your opinion on this. Would you agree with the statement that a lot of agents never get to that epiphany or that realization, that point in their business, in large part because of ego, because they feel like I'm the only one that can do it, or nobody will do it as well as I can, or for any number of. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Like, what do you think are some of the reasons that agents don't get to that epiphany, that mindset shift?
Just along the lines of that, one of the biggest questions I do get from like prospective agents who want to join Homexa is why if I already do or I can on my own do 30 to 35 transactions consistently, why am I paying my commission towards Homexa? I get that every call. Like they just don't understand. They're like, "Oh, you're not." For me, it's more than leads. I mean, I can take the leads if that Homexa provides, but it's more than that. And for someone who's started a team multiple times, for someone who, yes, I do enough production that I can be on my own. It's I don't think it's ego. I think it's more so people are more fixated on how much you're paying into a team rather than fully utilizing the team to build you. And I will be honest, I've been on multiple teams. Like I wasn't the solo agent from the beginning. I was the agent that was a buyer's agent to a listing agent. Like I've done the whole like went up the chain and then started my own. So in the beginning, I didn't understand like what is the value of me paying this much. But like now it's like, okay, I've done it all. And now I know how much it costs to hire staff. And then two, like the amount of headache it takes to build the system when you can just plug into a system. So I pretty much, an example is I would have never thought in a million years that there could be a investor matchmaker site that Austin just made. I literally use it every day. That's like what I check before I even check my MLS, because there's no point of me checking my MLS anymore when it filters everything. Like that is something that all I did was, hey, Austin, like I think I need this. I need to find a way to make it easier for me to find properties for my investors, which I do a lot of. And he just created it. And then I said, hey, this is my feedback. I need to know like what offer needs to be submitted in order for this property to be profitable for my client. He did it. Like on this site, he will tell me, hey, it will tell me this is the offer I would recommend for this. Like it's crazy because I would have never thought that's the issue that I had. And that takes up a lot of time. All I had to do was send it to Austin and say, hey, this is something I need. Like, can you make it happen?
So hold on. So it's finding the property and telling you what to offer based on average rents in the area and what you're paying for the property, interest rates, all that kind of stuff. So factoring everything in. Dude, what a powerful tool. And it's interesting you say that because, and first of all, I love that you're using that every day.
It saves you time, Michael. It saves you time.
Well, and you think about this too now, especially with all these privately held listings, where a lot of listings, in fact, you're going to see, I'm telling you, I don't know how the MLS is going to survive because you're going to see in the next, it's already happening, but very quickly here, we're going to be at about 50% of the listings they're going to spend their first 90 days not on the MLS. And that means you have to search everybody's website. And a human being just can't effectively do that and not miss
opportunities. Hard to do even with an MLS, unless you're, it's hard to do.
Yeah, it is. And now you've got AI that does that for you, and you didn't have to build it. You didn't have to figure it out. It's just you're like, hey, I have this issue. I want to get this done. Can you figure it out? And somebody else goes and does that for you while you're going and getting the next deal, right? I mean, it's again, I think real estate is changing. Period. It's going to be forever changed. It's never going to go back to the way it was, and it's changing very, very rapidly. And it's getting to that point where it's getting more and more and more and more difficult to be a solo agent. It just is, and it just. And I think one of the things that I think is lost on a lot of agents, you obviously have figured this out. And I know you guys just had another 100 transaction a year producer come on board with Homexa just this last week. And so people like you and they have figured this out that, you're not paying a team, you're buying services. You're buying tools, you're buying technology, you're buying services, you're buying support, you're buying staff, and you're buying ease of use. You're getting a discount on all those things because you guys buy collectively, right? So you got all these team members that are paying into this thing. And so you can get things because you're buying at scale, right? It's like, for example, and I'll just use Follow Boss because, I know currently you guys are using Follow Boss. I think you guys are getting pretty close to switching away from that. But even Follow Boss is a great example. If a solo agent goes to buy Follow Boss, they're going to be $400 or $500, into Follow Boss with the dialer and all that stuff. But when you're at, hundreds of agents, it's $15 a user per month. Mm-hmm. And you guys buy that because you're collective bargaining essentially, right? Mm-hmm. And you can apply that across all parts of the industry. So that's huge. Okay. So, last thing on Homexa, and I want to get to a different topic with you that I think is really important, but what would you tell someone thinking about Homexa at this point in particular? Or let's start with teams in general. There's people considering joining a team in general, and then people considering Homexa.
I would say with joining a team. So until I had enough production, I was never a solo agent. I've seen other solo agents. Joining a team for me compared to my other rookies that I was in, like class-wise, I catapulted faster. I learned faster because through my teams, I learned how to flip houses. I've learned how to work by referrals. I've learned how to do things at a bigger scale that I think it's worth. You're not paying a portion to just pay a portion to the team. You're paying to learn. And if you learn everything, you can always switch. I've been on 3 or 4 teams, not including Homexa in my career. Learn everything that you can. And if it's not a good fit and you've outgrown the team, find another one. Mm-hmm. But that's the only way and the cheapest way without paying a lot of coaching where, some of the coaches don't even there's some companies unlike Club Wealth that don't even do what you do, So it's just, I think for someone who's starting, it's just a better way to learn faster and grow faster compared to solo agents.
I would agree with you there, but and I would suggest that for the last decade, that's been the majority of people that are joining teams. But lately, in the last couple of years, I'm seeing a lot of very successful solo agents joining teams or organizations like Homexa. I'm seeing people that used to own teams rolling their teams into organizations like Homexa. I think people are realizing that being the team leader is not.
It's not what it's cracked up to be.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Being a team leader can be great, but only if you get to a high enough level with it. If you're not doing, a couple hundred transactions a year as a team, being a team leader sucks. It just does.
Being tier 2, tier 3 and being a team leader really sucks.
It does.
So until you are able to be a team, a tier 4, really quickly, it's better to utilize the platforms that are available.
100%. Yeah, no, I agree. 100%. Okay, so let's transition. I want to ask you something else.
No, I'm scared.
Oh, this is coming though. So you had a recent experience
Okay.
that I want to dive into. And I want to dive into
Okay.
this because you grew a ton in a very short amount of time through this experience. And it's something that I think everybody goes through. Some grow from it and some just get stuck in it. And that's the way they are for the rest of their lives and the rest of their careers. And it's destructive and it's hard. Do you want to describe the situation and then we'll talk a little about it? Or do you want me to describe it? It's your call.
You can describe it and then.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, all right. So you had a seller. So okay, so you had a seller that contacted you really upset because one of your team members had, or one of your administrative team members had sent a price reduction form to them to get them to reduce their price. That form probably should have gone out after you had a conversation with the seller, but nonetheless, it was the team there. You and the team member were both trying to be aggressive with the process and just make sure things were taken care of, and seller has been through. Let's put some context to this. The seller before you got them had expired multiple times, and then you
Three
picked it up.
agents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
three different agents, mom and dad. So Mr. and Mrs. Seller are living in different states right now because he's already moved halfway across the country, and she's behind trying to get rid of the house and blah blah blah. They don't have a ton of equity in it and whatever, but. She reached out to you. I can't remember if it was a phone call or an email, the first piece, but she reached out to you pretty upset, wanting to fire you because this form got sent out. And what was your response when that happened? Like what immediately happened for you when that happened?
Well, so she called and I had a missed phone call. I was in another appointment, and then I saw an email of termination of listing agreement with this like PDF explaining all the things that were not done correctly. And then so I was like, okay, I'm just going to pretend that I didn't see this email. I'm going to call her back and I'm say, hey, how's it going? And completely different from the email. She was really sweet and she's like, have you seen the email? I was like, no, I haven't. I've been in back-to-back appointments. I'll check it when I get home. And she pretty much was like, we would like to terminate. And I said, okay, that's fair. I mean, I understand that you want to terminate. Unfortunately, I was like, I'd already talked to you and I
Hold
told
on,
her,
hold on, wait, hold on.
oh,
Let's come to that part later. You're missing
okay.
the big
What
part in the
part?
middle. I want to hear the reason why Shannon created a really interesting meme for you.
Oh, I was mad. I was so mad. And you can look on the club wall. Oh my gosh, I can't believe she did that. But
Wait, you were mad at Shannon for creating the meme, or you were mad at
oh,
the situation?
well, no, I was mad at everyone. Like, I was mad at admin for the error. I was mad at the situation. I was like, I was stressed. I mean, it's probably common for other agents to feel the same way. I was, to say the least, raging. And it was, okay, the full disclosure, it was also not the perfect time of the month. Okay. So, Michael, it was like the perfect storm, and then this happened. And I was just like, I can't talk to anybody. I'm like mad. I'm so mad.
And the reason I wanted to key in on that piece of it is because if we're being honest, most people go through that. The vast
Oh,
majority of human
I
beings
believe
go through
it.
that, and I feel like this industry doesn't talk about it enough. And
No,
we're
no.
so busy talking about transactional things and blah 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 that nobody talks about the emotions involved, and not just the client emotions, but the agent emotions involved. And so, if I could add a little color to that, when you say you were raging, you contacted, you called Austin up,
I called
really fired up.
Austin. I called Maggie. I forwarded the email to everyone to include the listing group. I was mad. Oh my
You
gosh.
and so okay, so let's start with this. How did that benefit you, the team, or the client to get mad?
It didn't. It didn't at all. It did not make me feel better. It didn't make anyone feel better. And I brought everyone down to my misery. Okay, Michael, I know that now. You don't have to rub it in. You
I'm not
already
rubbing it in.
answered.
I want to bring this up because I want everybody else watching this to learn from this, because this is a component. And look, everybody goes through this. And there's things, and look, everybody's going to have something in this business that's going to just set them on tilt. And there's just stuff happens. I mean, this business, and agents are at the
It's
center of it
just
all,
really
and agents got to
stressful.
fix everything. And it's just, there's so much pressure on agents, and people don't realize it. And once in a while, you just snap.
Oh, I snapped.
Oh, I'd say, I think the term going postal comes to mind. But,
Yeah, no, I snapped. I definitely snapped. I feel
well,
bad, but I
okay, but the way you shouldn't feel bad. Here's the thing. I don't want you to feel bad, but it's such a great learning opportunity because okay. So let's go through this in the minutia for a second. So you got really pissed off. You reached out. I think I heard Austin like it's this person or me. Like there was a
Oh
lot of
no,
this.
I was like,
You're
yes.
like you wanted heads
That
to
was
roll.
that was after, but
Yeah.
yes.
But okay, and
I
then I think did you call the admin assistant too and chew them out?
yeah. Mm-mm.
You did or did not?
I did not call
Okay,
her.
good. That's good. So that's
I
good.
did
That's
not
actually
call
really good.
her, but I
Yeah.
definitely sent a really nasty email.
Oh, to her?
It could have been worse. It was
Okay.
part of the
All
forward
right.
email.
But okay, so then at some point you have conversation with Austin and whatever, and then at some point you get on the phone with me and we have a
Well,
conversation.
Austin said you need to talk to Michael. So I think I was beyond Austin's control at that point.
Okay. All right. So you get on the phone with me. Tell me how that conversation went from your point of view, and kind of how you evolved through that, and then subsequently throughout this experience.
Okay, so the conversation we had, it was really helpful because it wasn't like one, I needed reassurance that it wasn't my fault. Like in the general, like this happens all the time. It's normal. I mean, your seller's not so much crazy, but your seller is very emotional. Like it had to put like perspective into my brain to kind of like talk me off the ledge because all I'm thinking is I already have like other transactions that are falling apart. I'm focused on everything else, and this is one more on my plate that I cannot hang. It was like the last thing, and I
And then hold
also
on really
felt
quick.
out of control. And
So back up just a second. You
okay,
said something I wanted to key on, then I want you to keep going. But you said the seller was emotional and not quite crazy maybe, but emotional. And I wanted to key in on this because one of the things I think that I saw you kind of see the light bulb come on with was, just because my seller's emotional and irate or whatever doesn't mean that they're right, and doesn't mean that I need to be.
yes.
Right.
So
Yeah. Go
what
ahead.
in that moment it was, I was thinking I need to fix this
Mhm.
rather than thinking, okay, just because the seller is telling me to jump, I don't need to jump. I don't need to ask how high. And that's like I'm sure a lot of agents feel that way.
Mhm.
And I think it's a personality thing that makes us great agents, but
Mhm. I
it's
agree.
just, at that moment, I needed someone, which you did for me, to snap me out of, let me fix this, rather than, and then focus more on, okay, what's the logic behind this? Why are they doing this? Like, yeah. So you talked
Well,
me off
and
the ledge.
Well, okay, but think about this though too. So, and I love where you're going with this, because I think as agents we get so hung up on have to close every single transaction, right? And a lot of that comes from, in your case, you have a lot of transactions going on, so there's no need to feel that way. But a lot of agents that don't have a lot of transactions going on, if it's their only deal, they get very, oh my gosh, if this thing doesn't close, I don't pay my mortgage this month. So there's a ton of pressure, ton of stress. But one of the things that comes along with being part of a large organization, like a Homexa, is that you have a lot more transactions going on. And so if you lose one transaction, it's not going to mean the difference between paying your mortgage or not, which takes a lot of pressure off. And now you can deal with things very differently.
So in that, you did say that in our call. There,
Mhm.
you told me I don't need this commission. And I was like, you went through my numbers. You're like, how many listings do you have? How many pendings do you have? How many have you closed this year? And the thing is like when in the moment, I'm so focused on, I don't even know, I haven't even fully like understood why, but it was more so like I didn't want to fail, which every successful person has to fail, right? I was more focused on that than the reality of I don't need this, so to speak. Because when you let go, when you put that into my head, I was like, oh, I don't need this to, like, what am I doing? Like, not in the sense of like, I don't want to come off like I'm bragging or anything. And so it's not
You're
like
not.
that. It's just the idea of like, I just need to let the chips fall the way that they're meant to fall. And I need to stop focusing on this one transaction because by focusing on that, not only was I completely drained, I wasn't focusing on the other transactions that, of people that love me and care for me. And then, so it was eye opening because when something like this happens, that's what you focus on. And what you focus on expands. So,
Which spins you out even more.
yes, yes.
And then what happens is you end up hurting the people that are your biggest supporters, and not just your clients, but your team, right? And
I know.
and those relationships matter a lot. I mean, and I think it's really easy, and I see this so often. Usually, I see it both with team members as well as team leaders, where dude, anything goes sideways at all, and they immediately take the client side and they immediately jump on their team and they immediately, give them a hard time, and they damage a lot of those relationships. And then they wonder why nobody stays with them. They wonder why, they keep losing good assistants or they keep losing good team members or whatever. And it's like, well, look at how you've been treating them. Of course of course they're not going to stick with you. Of course they're not going to go to bat for you in tough times. Of course they're not going to be there when you need them because you weren't there when they needed you. And I'm not. I really hope agents watching this are really take this to heart, because if you want to build a lasting business, and if you want to build a business that isn't stressful 24/7, 365, and where you don't have to be freaked out about money all the time, then there's a few things you need to do. One of those is you got to take care of the people that are taking care of you, and you got to remember them. You got to give them credit, and a lot of those people want appreciation more than they want money. And you think about that, even in the mid, I'll give you a great example. So when I bring people on, and I've had people make lots of mistakes in my organization, in all of the organizations I've owned, people make mistakes. People are human, right? And I have a conversation with people when I hire them, and I tell them, I say, you're going to cost me money someday. You're going to screw something up. It's going to cost me 100, 500, 1,000, $10,000, maybe more. And I want you to know that that's okay. I'm going to give you the same grace that I give me, because if you want to succeed, you're going to have to fail at some point. And if you're not failing, it means I'm having to make all the decisions, and we can't operate that way. I need you to be unafraid to make decisions and to take action quickly. And it's not always going to be the right action, but you'll get better and better and better over time, and we'll grow together. And I remember the first time, and I can't remember how much it was. I know it was north of $10,000, but I remember the first time Ron cost me money. Ron, for those of you that don't know, Ron's my chief operating officer. He's our head coach at Club Law. And I'm telling you, dude, it was big. He cost me a bunch of money. It was tens of thousands of dollars. And he thought I was going to be ticked. And I'm just like, okay, well, what are we going to do to make sure that doesn't happen again? That was it. We just focused on the solution, right? And he's like, man, like I expected to get yelled at or whatever, and it's just like, no, man, like it is what it is. What happened, but now we just have to move forward, and we have to figure out how do we fix the system so that thing doesn't happen again. But I'm bringing this up, hey, Joan, I'm really glad you were so transparent about this situation, because agents that don't have enough production and agents that get emotionally attached to the outcome burn bridges left and right, and they never reach their full potential because they're in that scarcity mindset. And you just had this massive leap. I mean, like your mindset just shifted over like instantly. and it's like you've fully embraced it. And I want to give you kudos because most people don't learn that quickly. Most people have to go through this a bunch of times before they finally get it. You're just like, oh, yeah, that didn't feel as good as I thought. Let's do it differently. You just did.
It didn't help that Michael called me out. It doesn't help. Doesn't help that I got a slap on the wrist.
I didn't give you a slap on the wrist. You didn't get a
Oh,
slap on
yes,
the
you
wrist.
did. You gave me a tongue lashing.
That's
Okay.
not true. You sound like Shannon now. That's funny. Shannon always tells me that, dude. I love it when she yells at me in public, dude. It's so funny. Anyway, all right. So, what advice? Just final word on that topic. What advice would you give agents?
Um, I'd say my biggest thing is to not focus in the moment, but focus on the future. Because if you're so focused on the present and the now, you're gonna get that emotional. You're gonna get like to the point where you do what I did, which I'm not proud of.
But first, I love the way you characterize that. That's perfect advice. I think you're absolutely right. I really do. And don't feel bad. Like again, we all learn and grow, dude.
Well, I didn't get fired, so I'm still with Homexa. Obviously fired me.
That's awesome. Okay, so all right. That being said, let's back up. So, all right. So you're an agent in Newport News, Virginia. And you do residential and commercial. You do a lot with investors, and so I'm saying this because I want people that have people that want to invest in Virginia, and I mean, you handle the whole state, I'm assuming. And so anybody that wants to invest in Virginia or buy or sell in Virginia, you're definitely the right person to go to for that. And so anybody watching this, please send your referrals over to Hea Joo. I know she'll take great care of them because she obsesses over making sure everybody's getting the perfect experience, and she does a great job. But that said, I want to talk to you about you as a coach for just a moment, just for a couple minutes, and then I'm going to wrap this up. But so you've been with Club Wealth for a couple of years now, a few years now, and you've been a coach for two of them. Is that right? Are we at 2 years
Maybe
now?
I stopped counting.
Okay,
I'm
that's all right.
sure you know.
But I want you to tell me who's your perfect coaching client and why do they select you? And the reason I want to know this is because coaching isn't cookie cutter. It's really important. Well, I shouldn't say that. The right coaching isn't cookie cutter, right? And so there's going to be different people that resonate with you. So tell us who's the right client for you and who's the wrong client for you. Maybe do it in the reverse order. Who's the wrong client for you, and then tell us who the right one is.
Um, I'm gonna jokingly say someone who doesn't do their homework, but it's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
No,
Sure.
I'd say like a wrong client, a wrong match with me would probably be a better match for Austin. It would be like I'm not really a cold caller. Like I'll do it, but I'm more of like a referral base, like building your community around you that advocate for you. And, so if you're looking to just sit on the phone and like just call, that's probably not my ideal client. But if someone's looking for more like community outreach, turning hobbies into income or, like doing client events and like giving back to the community, then I would teach them everything I do and kind of see.
You are definitely strong on that. You do very well in your referral-based business, and you've got a lot of very loyal investors that you've obtained by doing that type of business. And those investors do a lot of business with you. So I like that. Would you consider yourself more of a drill sergeant or a nurturer?
It depends on the client. I would probably say I wouldn't say I'm either. I truly believe that my coaching client needs to want to do it. Like I'm going to give them homework. I'm going to lead them to water, but I'm not going to like force water down their throat. You know what I mean?
That's
So
more my style.
yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, Michael. You told
That's
me to
funny.
stay put in Virginia. So
That's
Um,
funny.
no, but it's like, I think it's more so like I want them to succeed. I will give them the tools, but I will never tell them you have to do it
Hmm.
because I don't believe that. I mean, just if they're similar to my personality, someone forcing me to do something is going to make me want to rebel and not do it. So
Hmm.
I guess that's kind of.
It's good. No, that's great. Okay. And so, first of all, I think that's fantastic. I would recommend that anybody considering coaching with Hea Joo that you listen to her videos that she's done that are on Club with University that go into more detail on her as a coach. But ultimately, if you're looking to build a referral-based business, then I would say that Hea Joo is a really, really good, whether it's referral-based or investor-based or both. I think that is, that could be a really good fit. So thank you for that. I'm really glad you brought that up. And so that said, Hea Joo, what would you let's go back. Last thing I'm going to ask you to share. If you could go back to brand new agent Hea Joo, what would you tell her?
Mm, that's a really tough question, Michael. I wish you would have given this to me earlier to prep for it. Um, I would tell her that all the effort that you're putting in today is going to pan out.
Mhm.
I think that's it. Because when I first started, I think I was putting in more than like it was close to 100-hour weeks. Like it was like ride or like it was like this
Mhm.
is how I'm going to pay my bills because I had a financial advisor at the time who's also commission based and he said if you're going to go down this route, commission 100% commission is not easy. But you need to go in with your back against the wall in order to succeed. And that's the best advice I've ever gotten. And that's pretty much, I think, what I live by. I mean, now it's gone to the point where I mean, I do have residual business and like I've built a community, but as a new agent, man, you got to put in the hours. Whether if it's calling like 5-hour days, it doesn't matter. You got to put in the time.
Well, and to your point, I like that back against the wall kind of philosophy because I mean, at this point, you're probably your biggest enemy right now. If I had to put a bet on it, I would say it's complacency. And the reason is because you've done so well with your investing that you're getting to a point where you don't have to work if you don't choose to.
Mhm.
And that's a great place to be, but it's also a very dangerous place to be because you don't have to go out and work. And if you don't have to go out and work, the consistency oftentimes will fail. And if the consistency falters, then everything falls apart. And so maintaining that consistency is tough for people that have done well. So I like that back against the wall thing.
I also think that right now is what you always say. I want to put a wrench in things.
Yeah,
You could
yeah,
close up. So I
you
need to
do.
prevent that from happening, Michael. I think
It's
that's
funny. It's like I haven't had a challenge lately. Let me just screw everything up and just see how it goes. Let's
yeah,
let's
yeah.
you
I
know see
think
if it
that's,
sparks me.
I mean, complacency, I think is ingrained. Like my daily schedule is pretty much ingrained in me now. So it's not, I don't think it's like, it's just discipline that's pushing me through. I think my
Yeah.
biggest struggle right now is to not put wrenches in things.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
you know what? Here again, that comes with experience. That comes with time in the business, and you're figuring all that out, and you're doing very very well with it. So
And
thank
having
you.
you in Austin preventing me from doing it.
It's interesting. I think people think he and I are a lot alike, and in some ways I think we are, but we're also very very different. He approaches this business very differently than I have, and it's interesting. I think it's fun to see people like you that are engaged with both of us at different levels because what I think you're getting a pretty good tag team there. I mean, there's what he's good at is very different than what I'm good at, and what I'm good at is
What's really nice is you guys know when to pass. Like
yeah, yeah.
you
I'm
guys
like,
are
okay, that's not my
definitely
lane.
the
Go talk to
duo.
Austin. Yeah. And but here's the thing, it's funny. I think a lot of that comes from Tara and I having worked together for so long. And because when you're working with your spouse, if you want to stay married, you're going to have to figure out that everybody's got a lane and they need to stay in it and you need to stay out of your partner's lane. And And so I think as a family, I think that's worked really well for us. Each of us, like none of us gets, like Madison is doing mortgage. None of us gets in her face and tells her how to do mortgage. She's very, very good at it. We just, and she doesn't get in Austin's lane or my lane and tell us how to do our jobs. And, I'm going to credit Tara for that. And I'm saying that because if it wasn't for Tara and I working together for 35 years now. Oh, we're old. So we've worked together longer than Hea Joo's been alive. But
not quite, Michael. Not
whatever,
quite.
pretty darn close. But anyway, my point is that working together that long really helps you develop those lanes. And here's the other thing, kind of cut full circle back to the original thing that we were talking about. That's a lesson you're beginning to learn as part of being part of a team, because now you have a lane and you have other people that have a lane, and you're not going to do your job 100% correct. They're not going to do their job 100% correct, but together you guys can do an amazing job for people, and you're light years ahead of the competition. But when you guys learn to kind of stay in each other's lanes, I mean, could you imagine an admin team member saying, "Hey, you can't sell it like that. You can't talk to them like that. That's not how you get a signature." Dude, that's not their role. They don't know what they're doing there. Just like you tell them, "Well, hey, that's not how you do pay per click." Like, wait, what? Like, let them do their thing, right? So anyway, I love that. All right. So that said, final words. You get the last word today. Hey, Ju, what advice would you give to everybody watching today?
Gosh, I'd say stay strong. I know the market's tough, and keep prospecting and stick to your daily schedule.
I love it. And then how do they contact you?
I guess they could text me or email me.
Okay. Give us those numbers.
757-753-4546. And then my email is Hea Joo Kim, HeaJookim, realtor@gmail.com.
Right on. I love it. Guys, reach out to Hea Joo, send her some referrals. Even if you just want to learn a little bit more and, pick her brain a little bit, give her a call. I'm sure she'd love to take your call and or send her a text or an email and schedule time to chat with her. And Hea Joo, I really appreciate you taking the time with me today.
Thanks.
All right, Coach. We'll see you later. Great job today.
Thanks.
You bet. Goodbye.
Club Wealth is the only coaching company on the planet that will literally guarantee that you will double your income or make at least an extra $100,000 your first year coaching with us, or we will give you 100% of your investment back. Click the link below, sign up for the appropriate tier level, and let's get you a strategy session today. And I promise you, I 100% guarantee you, promise you that you will walk away with a heart full of gratitude for the time that we took for you, because you got so much value out of that call. Schedule your strategy session today. I promise you'll be glad you did.